Alright, you guys, welcome back to Just 6 Cover. Appreciate you showing up. It is Sunday morning. As I like to say, BC early, butt crack early in the morning. And we are driving through a bunch of fog right now. I don't know how that's showing up on the camera. We're headed to Bristol, Virginia after yesterday's finale. And I sucked. I felt horrible. I shot horribly. It was a horrific event. So I'm on my way to Virginia to shoot an NRL X match. Should be fun at Kettlefoot. So stand by. See what kind of madness. Maybe the sun will come up sometime, somewhere, somehow. All right, so I was fortunate enough to shoot in Chris Simmons' squad. I did take some video footage, so you're going to see a lot of great shooting here. Definitely check out his body positioning, how he utilizes the bags and his time efficiently. But this is started off with stage 9, drinking on the job. Shooter will begin standing behind the work table, ladder, and sawhorse with rifle and gear in hand. On the beep, shooters will engage the 2 targets from 5 designated positions, 1 round each. Cans are at 109 yards. And unfortunately, I didn't get video footage of myself shooting this one. Huge shout out to Willard for videotaping myself. Appreciate it.
What bench are we shooting on? 17. Pat, I'm gonna let you grab your rifle. I don't wanna. Oh yeah, it won't hurt. You know what we're doing? Pretty much, yeah. Run. You might want to go over it.
Ten out of 10. All right, this is stage 10, hostage barricade. 8 rounds possible. Shooter will begin standing behind the barricade with rifle and gear in hand. On the beep, shooter will move to the barricade and engage the largest hostage taker target from 4 positions with 2 rounds. After 2 rounds, the shooter must change positions and engage the next smallest target. The shooter may not repeat positions. This is basically a hostage know your limits rack at 47 yards.
Just this part. You're good.
Fire. I do. You're ready. You're ready. And by.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes. Sure helps out.
What were you maybe for y'all? Maybe they gave me 5 minutes.
You shot that shit yesterday. It's 10 times worse than that. Yeah.
Chris over there wasn't like smooth criminal. Like casual. I talked to him. Every time I shoot, I thought I'm about to have a heart attack.
Nice work. All right, stage one, raptors on the range. Something big. Bigfoot. We're 10 points. Shooter will begin standing with rifle and gear in hand. On the beep, the shooter will move to the stand and engage the targets from near to far with 2 rounds each. We had a raptor at 64 yards, 94, 135, 162, and Bigfoot, which I can't remember the distance, but he was out there. And these were all hidden targets, all basically camouflaged and in the bushes. Fun stage. All right, and then we got moved over to stage 4 called SOB. Shooter will begin standing behind the bench with rifle and gear in hand. On the beep, shooter will engage the smallest circle plate at 83 yards with 2 rounds from the bench top. Shooter will then use the sling or rope to support their rifle and engage the middle targets with 2 more shots. Shooter will engage the largest circle with 2 shots from standing unsupported. Shooter will then move back to the rope sling for 2 more shots, and then back to the bench top for the final 2 shots. When standing, only a sling attached to the rifle is allowed for support. And that was worth 10 points. A lot of things I messed up on here. You could actually put your body on the bench. You just had to utilize a sling. Unfortunately, I was the first one to go on this stage, and did not have a good game plan in my head, nor could I remember what I was supposed to do. So these are some of the things that definitely work on. Have the exact entire stage placed into your head and know what you're doing prior to going up there and starting. All right, so this was stage 5. Chris was behind me, so now he's first up. This is called Forced Reload, Know Your Limits. Worth 10 points. Shooter will begin on the bench top and engage the 8 target Know Your Limit rack with 10 rounds total. Targets are hit to move on, but when the shooter misses, they must perform a magazine change before engaging the next target. If all 8 targets have been hit and rounds remain, shooter can continue to re-engage the smallest target until 10 rounds total has been expended. This target was at 73 yards.
Pet.
Now are you ready?
Pet.
Stand by.
Last and not count.
Yep.
You clean everything. You don't count. Pop up in the magazine or something. Sounds like a wacky.
Is it a voodoo?
Second is
Correct. Raise it up a little bit.
All right, stage 6, Diamonds and Rust. Shooter will begin standing behind the bench with the rifle and gear in hand. On the beep, shooter will move to the bench top or prone and engage the first of 5 targets with 2 rounds. Shooter then moves and engages the next target from a new position. Shooter will use 3 benches and 2 prone positions and may not repeat a position. Each target must be shot from a different position from near to far, hit or miss. Got a diamond at 75, 103, 156, 195, and 216.
I didn't hear it. Which way is he blowing?
Looks like left or right. No, it's right there. It's definitely right there. 100% right. Yeah. He had some smoke come off that target when he hit it and it went. It did go right. Show out. Yeah.
I'm taking my time.
I'm ready when you're ready.
You were going to start another stage. And I'm going to start.
Are you ready now?
Pet.
Okay.
Can I pick Barney and then have to start? Pat? 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 Oh, what's that?
30 seconds left.
All right, stage 7 bar exam. Shooter will begin on the bench top. Shooter will engage the vertical, then horizontal bar targets at each range with 1 round each. Hit or miss. Move on to the next target. Targets started off 34 yards, 64, 88, 111, and 138. They were pretty small targets. One was vertical, one was horizontal, so they were nice little targets.
Go to the next one, right?
So this stage is pretty cool. It's called stage 8. This one we actually held. You had 6 different targets. And what I ended up doing was dialing 3 up and making that my 0, and then holding the 3, which was really 6 for the gnome. So the targets were, you had to go back and forth from the bobcat, which was 127, and then out to the gnomes. And each gnome had a different color. You had to shoot them in a certain order from left to right. And those range from 191, 192, 189, 193, and 195. So basically, did pretty good on this one, but it was a tricky stage. There really wasn't enough time, I don't believe, to dial each one back and forth, because in between each gnome, you had to shoot the bobcat at 127. So I decided to basically dial for the bobcat and hold for the gnomes. So a fun stage for sure.
Green, right? Green. Done, right?
All right, I tried to, this was basically a floating platform. You could be anywhere on there, so I decided to try to straddle the wood, not be on the floating platform, utilize a bag like you would a barricade. Unfortunately, it did not work out for me, and it is what it is, but I wanted to try it. So learn from that one. The best thing would have been just lay on the platform and jam your foot into the thing and kind of hold it as stable as you could. Along with that, I figured out that I had lost some things, but this was called Stage 2 Noah's Ark of Doom. Shooter will begin on the boat with rifling gear. On the beat, the shooter will engage each target with 1 round each. Hit to move on. No part of the shooter's body may touch the ground, but can touch any part of the boat prop. Targets will be engaged far to near. The farthest target was the pig at 215, then a fox at 215, a coon at 213, a skunk at 171, rabbit at 145, squirrel at 134, prairie dog at 75, woodchuck at 58, woodchuck at 44, and a woodchuck at 38. Now, I did screw up and I dialed for the wrong animal, and I lost 4 shots trying to get that going. So, started to fall apart a little bit there. I had a good game plan going in. I knew which targets I needed to shoot, and I just dialed the wrong dope, and from there it went downhill.
Can I continue? 5 time?
Yes.
Is it 10 shots? 10 shots.
All right, now we're shooting stage 3, double diamond tank trap, where 12 points. Shooter will begin standing behind the tank trap with rifling gear in hand. On the beep, the shooter will go prone and engage the smallest target on the near array with 1 round. Shooter will then engage the smaller target on the far array with 2 rounds before transitioning back to the close target to engage with 1 more round. So near, far, far, near. Shooters will move to the tank trap and engage the same order, but with the larger targets. Shooters will then transition back to prone and re-engage the small targets in the same order. There was only 2 targets out there, 2 arrays of targets. One was at 79, and then the far one is at 150. Problem was trying to keep track of going back and forth and remembering to hold it and dial. So learned a few things there, and just not get flustered. And then the way you go underneath this thing and shoot prone, you end up jamming up against the leg that you'll see on the right of the tank trap coming down. So picking a good spot ahead of time is definitely important. And then also remembering to change your dial back to whatever the previous target was. So lots of things to think about here. Even though it seems very simple, you got to have a good game plan going in, or you will get a little bit discombobulated. So that worked. They discombobulated me.
What the hell was that? Is that me?
Dope.
I was there. That's me, right? Yeah. That was a shit show.
First time shot was right at 12. Between, it's like 11 and John 60. John Cole's. Had first round impact at 12. And then we was all shooting Kevin and Shepard. Kevin Shepard.
We'll call it. I don't know how else it would have fell down. That was it. I mean, if you just wanted to do it again.
All right, so finally got this video footage put together. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully maybe you learned some. It was awesome to shoot with the guys, and especially Chris Simmons. Just watching how he does things can definitely make you a better shooter. So if you get a chance, get on some squads with some better shooters. And you guys have a great, wonderful, and safe weekend. Take care.